Father John Muir here. Thanks for joining me right here on Catholic Breakfast. Today I want to talk about Michael Jordan and living in the present moment. So like a lot of you guys have been watching this great 10-part documentary series on Michael Jordan and the 1998 Chicago Bulls called The Last Dance on ESPN. There is a really cool spiritual point I wanted to share with you that I think is really worth kind of meditating on. It really can help us in our daily lives. Now, why watch a sports figure or a sports documentary? Well, here's why, because it's a meditation on virtue in a lot of ways. Here's a great line from St. Paul to Timothy. It's 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Paul speaking to Timothy. For while physical training is of limited value, devotion is valuable in every respect, since it holds a promise of life, both for the present and for the future. Paul here is in this Greco-Roman world where athletics was a big deal. And Paul isn't saying that we should just get rid of sports because we've got these spiritual things, right? The mystery of Jesus and the church and etc. No. Doing and meditating on athletics can be of value. There's a lot to learn there, and it can help us understand not just the physical, but the spiritual life. As I'm watching Michael Jordan and this great documentary on him called The Last Dance, I think, like a lot of people, I'm asking the question, how do you get so good at something? I mean, that's the question, right? What made Michael Jordan to be Michael Jordan? And that's just an endlessly fascinating question. And here's one slice of that pie in terms of how I think the documentary answers it. Michael's ability to stay and respond in the present moment. Now, there's nothing new about that. I think sports psychologists and sports people have been playing with that idea all the time, right? Being in the zone. What does it mean to be totally in the present moment, able to respond to the demands here and now? There was one point in this series, I think it's episode 9 or 10 of The Last Dance, where Michael is talking about that. And someone was asking him about being afraid to take, a big shot or the last shot in a game. And he says, why would I worry about missing a shot that I haven't taken yet? And I thought, that's the power to stay in the present moment. Where can an athlete get jammed up in terms of getting pulled out of the present moment? Well, always two directions. One is to the past and one is to the future. The past can be with respect to good or bad things. And this is true for us in our own life too. I feel regret over something that was bad in the past, which now makes me fearful about trying again in the future, taking a shot. Or with respect to good things in the past. There's one point in the documentary when Jordan kind of lambastes players who are riding high on their past championships and they're not responding with virtue and discipline now in the present moment at the beginning of a new season. If you want a meditation on this in Catholic life in terms of our Catholic tradition, look no further than Brother Lawrence. He was a 17th century Carmelite brother who wrote a very cool little book called The Practice of the Presence of God. The basic idea is God is present in the present moment. Not so much in the past for us, definitely not in the future, because the future is the least real thing we've got. But the present moment is what he called a kind of sacrament, a mystery of God unveiling and revealing his presence here and now. To live that takes a certain trust, right? Trust in God's presence in the future, that we can't worry about the future. Trust in his mercy in the past for my failures, and letting go of good things in the past so that I can be free right now. I noticed in the documentary, Michael Jordan had this kind of childlike quality. Before and after games, he's just kind of acting like a kid. He's listening to music on the bus. He had this calm sense about him, this ability to respond to the present moment. Why? I don't know. Did it have something to do with his parents, his upbringing, maybe, his coaches? Sure. A kind of natural gifts from God, maybe even sort of some grace from God to stay right there in the present moment. I think maybe all that's true, but it's also just the mystery of his life. It inspires me, and I think it can inspire us to ask God for the grace to live that virtue in our lives, whatever we're called to do. We can call on the Holy Spirit to help us do that. Holy Spirit, help me to stay right in the present moment. Are you obsessed with the past? Entrust it to God's mercy. Are you worried about the future? Entrust it to God's providence, so that we can have that childlike spirit and energy to be in the present moment, to respond to the demands of the present moment then we're a little bit like Michael Jordan. Thanks for watching.